Hello.
Hi,
This is the Best Friend's Guide to Money and Murder. I'm Claire. That's Caroline.
it's me. Again.
Again,
Claire, I don't want to talk about murder today.
I don't either.
We just got done recording our episode on Jack the Ripper, and my brain hurts. I'm sad. Men are terrible, and I don't want to talk about anything else.
Yeah, so this episode's going to be a little different. We don't know quite how these are going to shake out or how often we'll do them. This is going to be more of the best friend side of the podcast where we kind of have different stories to talk about.
Yeah, and it'll probably be shorter. Guys, we're tired. We're working professional women. Sounds like we both had a long week.
Yeah.
So you are wearing a very cute sweatshirt.
It has a cactus on it.
It is so cute. Where did you get it? Tell me all about it. Give me the deets. Give me the tea.
I got it on Etsy, and I want to be better about using the shop names instead of just
Yes.
saying I got it on Etsy because I want
Love
to
it.
be better about supporting small business.
Love it.
This is by her shop Etsy name is Lainey Ann Lane, but she's Delaney Dold on Twitter. The person that made my spooky little ghost friend that we took a picture with. So she does a lot of embroidery.
Cute.
So I got a sweatshirt with a cactus on it, and it's hand embroidered, and it's perfect and precious and so comfy.
I mean, it looks adorable and very, very comfy. So I'm happy for you. I'm wearing an old KU sweatshirt I got at a thrift store because I have a problem. I have a bunch of sweatshirts. I have about at least 20.
I do have a lot of sweaters.
Yes, you do, but I like them all. I have a lot of sweatshirts for someone who can't really wear sweatshirts to work.
Yeah.
I can wear a company's sweatshirts to work if we're not having professional meetings, but got a bunch I can't wear. It's unfortunate. So Saturdays are my big old large sweatshirt days. Okay, so let's do some story times. I had gotten off work a little earlier yesterday, so I decided to go to Michael's, which was such a good choice.
Yes.
One of the hobbies I'm getting into is painting.
Love that for you.
As you well know, Michael's always has some type of sale, so I got some more acrylic paint.
Ooh.
They had some canvas on sale, so I got some more canvas. I got big brushes, large brushes, so I can paint I usually paint the canvas a different color as the base color, and then once it dries, I do everything else. So I got to do that instead of a small brush I usually use. And I got pastels. Oh,
fun.
I love that so much. But so that was really fun. I was feeling a little weird yesterday, so it was just really nice and relaxing. I spent 30 minutes and they were just walking through every single aisle of Michael's. Before that, I was like, tell me not to dye my hair purple. And he said, so sorry, I cannot do that. And I said, thank you. And I went to Sally Beauty and now my hair is purple. Cheers.
Cheers. I love that for you. Purple hair is good.
I feel more like myself.
Yeah.
The red was cute. Red was a moment. We love her. My purple hair is who I am as a person. I texted some of my other friends. I was like, we're painting our hair and our canvases today, ladies. And it was very fun. It was 12:30 at night when I was all done. But I painted I'll show you later. I painted a really pretty picture that I'm almost done with. I'm really proud of it. And I used my new brushes and it looks a lot better than my old ones. So
I finished my notes last night. I was trying to think about what I did. We watched 2 movies. We watched Malcolm and Marie, the Zendaya movie. She makes Kraft mac and cheese wearing a ball gown, and it's upsetting because I literally made scallops for dinner last night, but I was in sweats, so I was like, I'm inadequate. She's wearing a ball gown.
God chooses favorites, Claire. We all know this.
Yes.
Oh no.
And then we wanted something lighter, so we watched Pitch Perfect.
As you should.
Taylor hadn't seen it, and so it was really fun.
How did he like it?
Yeah, he thought it was silly.
It is silly. Oh, early Ben Platt.
I know. And then I was thinking about when I saw him in New York and Evan Hansen, and
I hate you. I literally hate you. I despise you. You're my least favorite person on this planet right now.
So, story time about when me and my mother saw Ben Platt.
Okay.
We were in New York. It was when the show was gaining a lot of popularity, but it wasn't getting the coverage like Hamilton was.
Sure.
And the year before, we were in New York, the week before the last the original cast was leaving Hamilton. For the next year, my mom was like, oh man, I can't believe we didn't get the tickets. I'm so mad. Like, we didn't do it.
Yeah.
And so when we got back to New York, I was like, okay, we have to do Dear Evan Hansen.
Yeah.
Because you will regret it.
Oh, so many regrets would happen.
Yeah. And she was like, okay. So we had to get the tickets off of, I think it was like Ticketmaster or something. Like, we couldn't go through the theater.
Okay. Yeah.
Because we had to buy them resold.
Okay.
And so we have to go to the ticket office, like Ticketmaster office, in Manhattan, near Times Square.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we were doing this at like 6:30 maybe for like a 7:30 show. So we had to sprint like 4 New York blocks to get to the show to make sure we were there in time. Because she was like, okay, we just spent this money on these tickets. And so me and my mom hauled ass across 4 Brooklyn streets, sat down, we're a little out of breath.
Yes.
And then the opening note hit, and my mom heard the other moms singing, because that's the opening. Grabbed my arm and said, "Worth it."
Did you cry? I first saw Dear Evan Hansen in Toronto with my mother-in-law. Eric and his father went to the Space Needle, and so Karen and I went to Dear Evan Hansen. Mm-hmm. I cried 6 different times. Yeah. I'm kind of a cry. I don't want to call myself a crybaby, because I'm a sensitive person, and I'm trying to also own that word sensitive as a strength, because I believe it's a really good thing to be really sensitive to other people. I was crying. Oh my gosh. But okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So we went there, right? Karen and I were there. We were hanging out. We were vibing. And the show starts. It's beautiful. And there starts to become like a commotion starts to happen, like to the right of me. Now, I have really bad anxiety. I have really bad crowd anxiety.
Yeah.
I get very overwhelmed. I think I get overstimulated in crowds. But also, I am some paranoid that I'm going to get shot in a theater. Yep. Welcome to America. Hi, how are you? This is a fear. So there's a commotion. I'm like, oh my God, what the fuck is going on? Someone had fainted or was having a heart attack in the theater during the show. Wow. And I think the actors could tell something was happening, but they just kept going.
Yeah.
Like, it was a big commotion. Like, someone was like, I'm going to need you all to be quiet. I'm going to need you to move so I can get in here and help this man. And they were like, sir, are you okay? Sir, do we need to call an ambulance? It was so scary. I think he ended up being fine.
That's good.
We were kind of in the more nosebleed section. It was still like a beautiful spot. Like, any spot in the house was good, but it was higher up, so I wonder if he had gotten dehydrated or something, lightheaded or something. Yeah. But I cried so many times, and it was cool because I think I was by someone who's never seen it before. Oh. No, I was, because Karen's never seen it. Yeah. Duh. She's never seen it. She didn't really know fully about what it was about. Yeah. And going to a musical with your favorite musical with someone who's never seen it, most special experiences ever.
That's how my mom was. She didn't know, really. And that's such a powerful, like, mom story. So to see it with a mom that doesn't really know what the mamas are going to go through.
Right. So something weird about me is I listen to podcasts. It seems more right now than I listen to music.
Yeah, same.
I listen to music a lot, though. I'll go between podcasts and music when I'm working. Like, if I'm working out, I'll listen to music. If I'm doing my art, I'll like listen to podcasts. Like, I was listening to serial killers while I was painting last night. So what are kind of talking about some like different things we like to listen to, or things we've been listening to. For me, just in general, like for music at least, I seem to listen to one playlist a month.
Yeah.
So like right now I'm just listening to the complete Taylor Swift collection.
Yeah.
And it's the only music I'll listen to.
That's fair.
I have another playlist that my little sister made for herself, so I go between that and Taylor Swift if I'm listening to music.
Good. Let's see, what am I listening to? I haven't been driving that much because the weather was kind of crappy this week.
Yep.
And So even though I'm working from home, my work from home setup is at my dad's house just because my apartment doesn't really have space for it. So I haven't been listening to a lot of stuff this week, but I listen to, like, when I listen to music, I listen to Ariana Grande.
Yes.
And a lot of, like, what Taylor listens to. He's a punk boy. I don't listen to his punk music. It scares me.
Punk music scares you?
Yeah.
Like what song? Like,
It's intimidating. And I get overstimulated a lot.
yes.
And so, like, the screaming and the loud music, I can't.
Question.
Yes.
Did you have an emo phase?
Oh, really?
I'm still in it, baby.
Yes, ma'am.
So you don't listen to like emo punk? Not for you?
No.
I do.
Yeah.
Like yesterday, middle school and high school, me, Caroline would have fainted if she knew what I did last night in terms of I listened to there's a playlist on Spotify, Emo 2000s, that I also been listening to. I turned that bitch on and I colored my hair and I felt so powerful. I felt like I felt like a badass, so alive. I definitely like healed part of my teenage self by doing that. That was really kind of awesome.
Love that.
I get the overstimulation though. Eric listens to electronic music,
Yeah.
triggers my fight or flight.
As much as I wanna think I have, like, the fight instinct, I have the flight instinct.
Did you know there's like more than just fight or flight?
Oh, no.
There's fight, flight, or fawn. So no, no. So there's fight, flight, freeze, or fawn.
Oh.
It's different types of survival related to trauma, right? You might feel a little bit attacked in this next thing.
Attack me.
Okay, so we understand fight or flight. You're either gonna beat the shit out of somebody back or you're gonna run away. I mean, it looks different, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
With freeze, you can't fucking move.
Yeah.
You can't fight, you can't flee. You're frozen. Like being if you were to be starting like if you saw a bear, I would probably freeze. Fawn is like a baby deer, right? FAWN. That is when you basically, and I can like look it up to make sure I did the right thing, but basically you please the person to survive. You put the person's needs over your own in attempt of survival.
Yeah, that would be me.
This is more in terms of children who've experienced childhood trauma, specifically where an authority figure is an abuser.
Mm.
Mhm. It can look obviously it's on a spectrum, so it can look like different things
Mhm.
depending, but not to be attacked at all.
No.
But what podcasts do you listen to, sweetie?
I listened to That's Why We Drink.
Me too.
Caroline got me in that one,
Yay.
which was really fun because I started listening to it when I was studying abroad and, like, kind of I had a weird adjustment period where it was really hard because for, like, 6 hours, I wouldn't talk to, like, my people because I was, like, 6 hours ahead, so, like, people wouldn't wake up until, like, 1 o'clock
Mhm.
London time, so I'd just, like, exist on my tube ride. Yeah, and so Caroline's like, "You should listen to this," and it was, like, me and Caroline hanging out, and I got to listen to it, and so they kept me company on my journeys.
Yay.
And then I listened to This Might Get Weird a lot.
Okay. What's that about?
That's, Grace Helbig and Mamrie Hart, the YouTubers, and they just hang out and are friends and, like, talk about the news. And they like, before the COVID, they would do a lot of, like, crazy shit to tell each other about on the podcast. So that's fun. What do you listen to?
A lot of different things. I listen to, and that's why we drink, as you just said. It's my favorite.
Mhm.
They're so cool.
Yeah.
They're a little bit older than both of us.
Yeah.
So it's cool to see like their take on things just as being just a couple years older. They're not much, but
But it's also interesting because they're 4 years old, their
yes.
podcast is, and so they're kind of I mean, they're where, like, Caroline and I are now,
Mhm.
because 'cause you're 25
Yes,
and they're 29, so 4 years ago. That's wild.
it was wild. I also listened to My Favorite Murder, which is by Georgia Hardstark and Karen Kilgariff, and they're in their late 40s, early 50s,
That's fun.
40s to 50s. They're hilarious. Now, I do think they sometimes get some bad reviews because they definitely are like an older generation. I hate saying older because they're really not old, but
Yeah.
they I mean, they lived in the 80s, man.
Yeah.
Sometimes when they talk about stuff, you can tell what generation they're from.
Mhm.
But you can tell they've been working so hard to say the right thing, be mindful of people, be mindful of people's trauma. They are so like they donate so many things to charity. They recently had a story where they had a few years ago told someone's assault story, and that person had written to Karen, and they ended up talking, and the first time that woman had heard her story talked about on media was through like hearsay from someone who had written Karen in Georgia. And so that lady wanted to make her story, her version of the story, the correct version of the story in a way that she wanted it heard. And so they went through it, and they told her story the way she had written it. Then they had apologized for not being as sensitive as they could be to her story,
Wow.
and then they donated a couple like thousands of dollars to the rain fund,
Good.
which was so they like do stuff like that. And that's just when a lot of talk about Black Lives Matter was going on, they made different merchandise that they sold to go to different charities, and they did a blackout for
Mhm.
like, and that's why we drink dead for Black Lives Matter and things like that. So I just really like, they're really, you can tell they're really trying, they're doing really well, they're being mindful, and they're fucking funny, dude.
Yeah, I've listened to a few episodes, but they started talking about, Making of a Murderer
Mhm.
doc, and then you said, "Stop listening because I wanna cover that."
Yes.
So,
Yes.
I
Yes.
did.
Sorry.
No, you're fine.
My B. I listen to so much more. So I also listen to when Jenna Marbles and Jillian
Oh, yeah.
Solomita had a podcast. I just listened to that, and I still do, but I would listen to that nightly. They're just so
So funny.
funny and relaxing to me, and I really identify with Jenna Marbles as a fellow Virgo and
Yeah.
person who doesn't want to bother others. I also listen to the Office Ladies podcast.
They started talking about Game of Thrones too much.
You gotta get it gets better. They stop that. It's fine.
I'll have to go back to it.
Which is funny. You can tell it's scripted.
Oh, interesting.
I just can tell that it's scripted.
Yeah.
Maybe that's just me, but I feel like sometimes you can tell when something's scripted and what's not,
Yeah.
especially because we look at notes, but I ain't writing this shit down. So
Like, I try and, like, write my notes as I would say them, so I'm, like, half scripted, but no, we're not scripted.
I don't live by that. I got too many things to do.
Yeah.
What's gonna come out of my brain is coming out. Something cool that I've been listening to is called Tales by Parcast. Because
Okay.
Parcast has like a huge
Their network.
freaking thing. Yes. And it's called Tales. It's with I'm gonna look her up just so I have her name right. Her name is Vanessa. I don't know her last name, but she covers the original stories of different fairy tales.
Oh,
So
fun.
she's covered Beauty and the Beast, she's covered Snow White, she's covered I've listened to that, and then Hercules, and just a bunch of others. And it's so cool. I
Fun.
My mom, when we were young, would read us stories before bed. We'd have a rocking chair, she'd read a story, we'd either sit with her, sleep in our bed, and she'd read us a couple stories. Fell in love with books because of my mom, right?
Yeah.
And so it's like just remind me of like childhood, listening to your mom tell you a story. However, it's not the cute it's not the cute birds and cute baby chickens and shit like that. It's so cool, but it's so sad. Like, trigger warning, but did you know Mulan in one of the original stories fucking committed suicide?
No. Whoa.
Also, I think Mulan was a lesbian,
Yeah.
and I will fight anybody on that. But like, that's besides the point. So you should listen to that. I don't know, the way she tells stories is really cool. Like, you can tell they are written out before they tell them. And it sounds like they do a bunch of research on the stories and where the origins come from before they like talk about them, and they act out parts of it. It's so
Fun.
cool. My mind continues to be blown with that. So with that, something I
Yes.
want to talk about. Alice in Wonderland.
Yes.
Do you know anything about like who wrote Alice in Wonderland or anything like that? It's okay if you don't.
Kinda, not really.
If anyone judges you, I will. It's on site, so it's okay.
Yeah.
So it was written by Lewis Carroll. Okay, which, fun fact, if you listen to our Jack the Ripper episode, someone was like, I think that Lewis Carroll did it. I was like, no, honey, that ain't it. So he wrote, so his real name is Charles Ludwig Dodgson, but he went by Lewis Carroll as like a pseudonym. So he wrote Alice's Adventures in Wonderland and then Through the Looking Glass, which is the sequel. He's also, so get this, there is evidence. Now, again, Lewis Carroll, evidence to prove he may have been a pedophile.
Not really surprising to me.
And here is why. So, okay, a grown-ass white man writes a children's story. Heard it before, hear it again, happens all the time.
Yeah.
Good for them. Women weren't allowed to write, weren't taught how to write, all of those things way back when, right?
Yeah.
So who's going to do it? Men. Guess when he was alive?
I don't know, like the 1800s?
He was alive between 1832 and 1898. Vanessa, who's now my best friend, goes on to talk about how Alice is based off an Alice he knew.
Oh.
A child that he knew. He wrote the story to please Alice. So he would, I don't know the relation, what they weren't related, but I can't remember what he did, but he would tell her and like other children stories. And so he made the story of Alice for Alice. People think that he got too close to Alice, so they stopped having a friendship. Just thinking that he could be a pedophile, like hearing the story of Alice in Wonderland gives me the heebie-jeebies.
That's fair.
Like she like eats to grow, she eats to shrink, she gets long, she gets short. It's crazy. Obviously, listen to that podcast episode because Vanessa goes into a way better explanation of that. But my mind was blown. Like it really was blown. Like it makes sense. It's gross. It's disgusting. We hate it. We don't love it. But the fact that that could be a thing. Oh, this was the biggest thing. Sorry, all over the place. This is how this happens. He was an artist too.
Yeah.
Claire.
Yeah.
He would paint pictures of nude children.
That's not okay.
Now, like back then, like it wasn't talked about. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He would also do that, which is fucking creepy.
I also listened to Crime Junkie and a lot of the audio. Not a lot. I've listened to Red Ball, but I have a lot of the audio check ones saved in my feed. I've been watching stuff more than I've been listening to stuff right now.
Oh, have you?
Yeah, because I can't really listen to other podcasts when I'm editing ours.
You'll get confused.
I will. And editing's been taking a lot of my time, which is fine because I love it. I've been watching Superstore. I've seen it before, but I forgot how funny it was. And I think it's a really good, has a wide range of representation, which I think is really fun.
That is cool.
We were going to watch some How I Met Your Mother the other day, but we watched one episode and it was like kind of super problematic for not being made that long ago. I watched it for the first time when I was a freshman. So like not long ago, and I didn't think it was like that problematic.
But she is.
She is.
I've also been listening to Georgia Hardstark and Carrie Cook have a podcast agency now called Exactly Right.
Right.
And so they have someone with the podcast Tenfold More Wicked. And that woman's voice for me is so comforting. And it follows, each season is a different case. And she's like a writer and a researcher, journalist woman. And it's so good. And then here and there, I listen to Brene Brown's Dare to Lead podcast.
Okay.
Do you know who that is? She does a really famous TED Talk on empathy versus sympathy. You've probably seen it before. And then she just is a really brilliant social worker who's written a couple of books. Empathy is a really main like aspect of things for her and what it means to be a good leader. And she's interviewed Obama.
Wow.
She's interviewed Joe Biden.
Wow.
She's interviewed like a bunch of really interesting people. So I really have enjoyed listening to her podcast here and there. And then I also, because Eric and I play Dungeons and Dragons.
Yes.
Quiet you. I listened to.
That was a loving laugh to anyone that plays Dungeons and Dragons.
I am listening to not another D&D podcast, and it's funny. It's just like, you know how you just have those things that you listen to as background noise sometimes just to like help focus. That's one of the ones I listen to, and it's just really fun. I like hearing adults do things that are considered childish but are like not nor are they harmful, and it's just like just dudes being guys having a fun time. Plus
me and Taylor play Clue, and I fucking love Clue. I'm so competitive about it, and I don't even care.
So I have a D&D character for one campaign with Eric and some of their friends.
Okay.
It's interesting. But so I'm also doing a campaign with my friends with Eric.
Fun.
And my character is basically me. So an emo kid all grown up.
Yeah.
She's what is considered a blood hunter. She's as close to like a vampire as you could get without being a vampire.
Iconic.
It's my favorite thing. I know.
Last week we watched all the movies for Sundance, which was really fun. Or a bunch of them. There was this one movie called Together.
Okay.
I want to get cozy on your couch and watch it with you.
You do? What's it about?
It's Ed Helms, so Andy from The Office.
Yeah.
And he decides he wants to become a single dad.
Okay.
Because he's, later in life. And so he finds a surrogate. It's a surrogacy story that doesn't leave the woman, like the woman once the babies changes her mind, anything like that. Like she's just in it to help this guy out, which is such a great story. So that was fun.
Okay. I'm trying to think. I usually but I watch Star Trek, and we're watching Deep Space Nine. And I love Star Trek, but like that I've had a hard time with recently wanting to watch because this is a more intense, I think, series of Star Trek. I haven't watched the new ones. I love Star Trek: The Next Generation. Yeah. I will always recommend that to people. It's something that me and Eric started watching when we first started dating. Love to see it. I watch a lot of crime documentaries. But the thing is, it seems like I can handle real life stuff, like real life murder stuff, more than made up fiction things. It's really weird. It doesn't make any sense.
Oh, I've been watching Veronica Mars. That's been fun.
Is it good?
Yes, it's silly, not too deep, but also crimey. So I've been watching that. That's fun. Love Kristen Bell.
I do.
That's who plays Veronica Mars.
Yes, I love her. I love her and her husband's relationship. It's very cute.
Very healthy.
What are some shows you're wanting to watch? Just as a last thought.
Airplane, the Kaylee Cuoco one on HBO Max. Good things about that. I've been wanting to watch that. Okay,
well, that's how we live our life, pals.
This is what it's like when we hang out.
This is really it.
Yeah.
We eat a lot more food.
Yeah. I quite literally ordered a pizza while we were podcasting.
Yes, it's amazing. That's honestly my favorite thing I've ever heard you say. What kind of pizza did you get?
I got a cheese pizza from Domino's. Okay. And I got those like the Parmesan bread bites.
Oh my gosh. Yummy. Good for you. I hope you eat the whole thing. No apology.
I probably won't because I'm lactose intolerant, but I'm the lactose intolerant that doesn't give a fuck and still eats cheese.
Hi. How are you? This is a club now.
Yeah.
It's amazing. So if you have ideas for our little friend circle,
let us know what you think. If you don't love these, let us know gently.
We are sensitive.
Let us know.
We
want to know and hear from you and start making new friends.
Yes. But yeah, I hope everybody has a great week. We'll see you guys next time.
We'll see you next time.
Stay safe. Be good.
Wear a mask.
Wear a mask.